Hi, now in this video we are going to talk about nested mapping. And let me tell you, nested mapping is a very important thing to know because this is also something that you are going to use a lot in Solidity projects. Okay, so understand this data type in a very important way, in a very well way I will say, because it is very important. Okay, so in order to declare nested mapping in Solidity, this is how you declare a nested mapping in Solidity. A mapping, so this is your first mapping and this is your second mapping inside your this first mapping, right? That's why we call it as a nested mapping. Now I know you must be thinking, okay, this is so complicated, but don't worry, I'm going to tell you a trick with the help of which it will become very easy. Okay. So in this case, if you will see, we have this key. Definitely key can be anything. I'm just using address data type here, but your key can be anything. Any data type here can be any data type. Here can be UINT or a string data type. Anything can be here. But we are going to understand the concept of nested data type. So I'm just using address here. In the same way, this is your second mapping. And in this also you have this key. Okay. And this is your bool. So for this mapping, this is the key. And this is the value. For this mapping, first mapping, this is the key. And this entire thing is the value. But again, I know it might sound so complicated, but trust me, I will make it very easy. First of all, let me remove all these things so that we can have a clear picture of it. Now, let me tell you the trick. So whenever you are creating a nested mapping or whenever you are seeing a nested mapping, just imagine this nested mapping as a two-dimensional array. I hope you are familiar with the concept of two-dimensional array. This is a very common data type that we have in all the programming languages, be it C, Java, or any other programming language. And you have to imagine this nested mapping just like that two-dimensional array. So this is how a two-dimensional array looks like. So here you can see that I have three slots, three rows and three columns. So these are the three rows, one row, second row, and third row. First column, second column, and the third column. I'm having a limited size of slot. Definitely in mapping, you can have as many values as you want. But as I said, I want you to just imagine this nested mapping like a 2D array. It can be as long as you want. Okay. But for demonstration purpose, I'm using a 3x3 dimensional, two-dimensional array. Okay. Now imagine this first data type, this first key, right? Written at this site like this. Okay. So this address 1 and address 2 and address 3 that you're seeing are actually the key value of this mapping. So for this mapping, okay, so all these things in green, okay, so this green thing that you are seeing is actually the key value of this mapping. Now on this column side, imagine the key value of this mapping. So with this blue color, address 1, address 2 and address 3. So this with this blue color that you are seeing, so this with this blue color, these are the key values of this mapping. Okay, I have colored this with blue and this is with green because the key value of, like, I'm demonstrating this key value as green color and for this key value as blue color. Now let's say you want to insert some element inside this mapping. How you will do that? It's very simple. Let's say if you want to store some value at this position, okay, at this position. So how you can reach to this position? First of all, you will go to address 1, right? Like this. So first of all, you will go to this row, this address 1 row, and then you will go to this address 1 column, right? This is how you can see a intersection, right? Like this. So like address 1 and address 1 like this, right? So intersection point is this. So this is how you can actually insert value into this slot. First of all, you need to reach that slot and then you can insert values in that slot. So if you have to do the same for, let's say, address 1 and address 2, let's say address 1 and address 2, you can clearly see this is address 1 and this is address 2. And let's say you want to store some value true because your value is of bool type, right? This value is of bool type. And by doing this, what you are doing is you are actually inserting true at address 1 and address 2. This is how you can insert element inside a 2D mapping. Let me remove all these things first of all. Now in the same way, let's say you want to insert some value at address 2 and address 3 means check is the variable name. If you will see check address 2. So just like your 2D array, you are inserting the values address 2 and address 3. So address 2, again, you have to go to this row and then address 3, that is this particular column. So you will insert value here. In the same way, if you want to insert value at address 3 and address 1, so this is your address 3 and this is your address 1. So the value will be inserted here. So this is how you can insert values inside your nested mapping, and this is also how you can fetch values from your nested mapping by just writing return, right? And simply doing the variable name, this variable name check, and then the value of this row, which is actually the key value of this particular mapping, right? Address 1 like this, right? And then again address 2, and you can in the same way you can in the same fashion you can return the entire value, that is true, false, whatever. Let's say if you want to store value at address 1 and address 3 means at this particular location, so you have to simply do address 1 first of all, and then address 2, sorry, address 3, and in this way you can insert value at this position. Okay, now let us see this on our remix id. So as I said, you can have anything as your data type, so we can also have uint data type as well. Okay, let's do that only, so that we can create a mapping like this as well, so that I can show you. And let's say again, since this is a nested mapping, so again I will have one more mapping, and let's say again I have uint, and in this position I'm using some bool data type, means I'm storing bool data type values. So again I can make this public, and I can have my data field like this. So let's say I want to insert some values to this mapping. What I can do is I can create one function, and as I said, in order to insert you need two values as in for this row, right? This will be your row and this will be your column. So I can write, let's say, row, and I can write column. This is just I'm writing like this. Definitely you can use anything, whatever you want, but we are going to use this nested mapping in our project as well, so it will get more clear if when we will do our project. Okay, if you are not you are not understanding the application of it, then you will understand the application of this mapping as well. So public, and now I will have data, and in data first of all I will have my row, and then I will have my column. Okay, like this. And then whatever data I want to insert, definitely it will be of bool data type, so I will have to have a bool value here, so value, and in this I will insert value like this. In the same way, I want to, let's say, return something from this, then I can do function return value. Okay, in this again I have to have my row, my column, right? And then public view returns, and the value that will be returned will be of bool type, right? So I will have bool here, and then I can simply return the data, row, and then the column. It is easy, right? It is very easy. And let's deploy this. So now you can clearly see I have my insert field. I will mention the row number. Let's say the row number is 0, and the column number is also 0, and in this I want to store true. I can transact. So now you can see that it is inserted. In the same way, let at row number 0 and column number 1 means at this position. So this is row number 0. Okay, I am considering this as row number 0, and definitely this 1 2 3 I have written, but you can consider it as 0 only. So this is your row number 0, and at column number 0 you have inserted what? You have inserted true, right? So let me write it down with pen so that we are clear with this. In the same way, let's say I want to store some value at 0th row and first column. So this is the 0th row and this is the first column. So I want to store, let's say here, let's say false, for example. So I can do that, right? How? I will simply go and write false here, and this is how we can transact it. And we can check the value as well by going to the return value function. I can do 0 and I can do 0. So you can see that this is true. Again at 0 and 1, this is false, right? And if you are going to check it for any other position, it will be by default false only. Why? Because by default bool data type values are false if you are not going to initialize them. So that's why it is showing us false. Okay, so you can clearly see that nested mappings are very easy in nature. Definitely the only part that you have to imagine is that they are like a 2D array. Okay, so I just imagine it like a 2D array, and I just insert value inside this 2D array. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Meet you soon in the next video. If you have liked this video, please click on that like button. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe to this channel, because I am regularly going to upload new blockchain courses on this channel. So meet you soon in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye. And do not forget, if you have any doubts, please comment below. Okay.